Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Hello.
I hope
Hello.
everyone is having a fantastic or had a fantastic week. I definitely had an okay week.
Mm.
um, sorry, I do apologize. I myself am still half awake, even though I had plenty of hours of sleep. My body's like, nah, you need more sleep for you.
More sleep.
So, Abby, what are we talking
Oh
about
dear.
today? Which I'm actually super excited about.
I'm very excited about it. Subverting the censors. How shows and movies kind of got around um ratings um to incorporate, I don't know, like inappropriate jokes, adult jokes in
Adultish
family
things.
movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
In family movies and shows. Let's say that.
Yep.
And this is disregarding the PG-13 rating because by that, I mean, yes, it's 13, you're still a teen.
Especially in modern times, because what was it? It was like 2006 that they changed PG-13 to where you could have one fuck per movie with a PG-13 rating,
Mm-hmm.
which was not the same thing in like the 1980s because what was it? 13th Warrior, which is an Antonio Banderas movie. I love it. Highly
I
suggest it.
completely forgot
It's
about the
rated
13th Warrior. Holy shit.
fantastic movie. Highly suggest it. It's rated R for violence, and I'm like, in reality, watching it, it's more of a PG-13 because
Mm-hmm.
it's
Then again, it was the
fictional
80s.
violence,
Yeah, fictional violence.
right? And
I.
I don't think like PG-13 came around until like 93, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let me double check that because I've looked that up
Was it?
previously because I
Yeah,
had
I
a
was about to say because I
huge
remember it
argument with
was.
my mother.
Yeah, it's like I think it was something very, very recent, for sure. Um, that happened. But the reason why we were talking about it is because we were just shooting the shit in at work,
Hmm.
and we're like, ha! It's interesting how a lot of these jokes I did not understand as a kid actually went over my head because I rewatched it as an adult, and I'm like, holy shit, they got away with that. And
Right,
also adult themes like genocide and mass murder and all
right.
that ish. That
Or
good
just death,
or death.
like violence and on-screen deaths.
On screen deaths, yes. Movie ratings are also very different now than the 80s because PG actually meant something back then. Yes, now it feels like everything is PG regardless of content. I do feel that in this particular day and age, everything is a little bit softer.
This doesn't seem right. It says that 13th Warrior was released in 1999.
That don't seem right.
Huh.
Was it really?
Yeah, like, I guess this is like a Mandela effect because I could have sworn it was like earlier than
That's like
that.
almost 2000s. Holy shit.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right at all.
No.
Um, Also, PG-13 didn't come around until 1984.
Oh, okay. So
Like,
it's like, yeah.
original, because it was either PG or R.
Yeah.
The PG-13 part did not come around until 1984.
Interesting. Interesting. So I feel we should. So I guess with this particular thing, well, we'll start with comedies because there's a lot of comedies. I feel like the king that holds the crown for all of this
Hmm.
is Shrek.
Oh, really? I would argue that, like, Animaniacs, really.
Oh, as a show, yes, 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 yes. No, actually, I don't know. I feel like yes, Animaniacs, but I also think that Rocco's Modern Life wasn't meant for kids. And I say
I
that
would agree with that.
I
I
say,
can I can agree with that.
right because I rewatched it. We bought the whole like DVD collection of Rocco's Modern Life, my husband and and I watched it, just as an adult, and it's like
Yeah,
a college student age. Like
yeah.
he's freshly out of his family's home. The
It was a
term
Nickelodeon show,
it
correct?
was yes, it
I
was, and I
feel like
remember watching it
Nickelodeon
as a
stuff
kid.
was for the older kids.
Yes, because I remember watching it as a kid, and there was a lot of themes that I didn't
Right.
realize. Like his neighbor's wife, it had like this huge crush on Rocco, to the point it was
Right.
kind of like sexual harassment kind of thing. But again, it was the 90s. That was a thing. His best friend was called Heifer, by the way, which is an insult. I didn't know Heifer was an insult. And I realized, yeah, now don't say that. It's an insult, especially in the South. Um, that was an insult. He worked at one point for
A
a
call center.
wink wink.
Yeah.
Oh, a sexy call center. Let's just say sexy call center. And it handled things that really geared towards young adults, like a coming of age from moving out of your parents' house into becoming an adult, which I
Right.
thought they handled it. Rewatching it as an adult, they handled it very well. Very, very, very well. And I think the reason why it was such a big deal is because at that time, adult animation didn't really like exist. So,
Right.
because we also had Beavis and Butthead, and
Right.
South Park, I think, was the only really.
Well, there was King of the Hill, so it was
Oh, yes.
animation, and it wasn't like a. So what is it? How should I explain this? It wasn't like a Hellsing style anime where it's
Mm,
clearly for adults.
yes.
But it wasn't like a Clamp Cardcaptor Sakura style thing where it's clearly for children. It just existed.
Yeah. Because it was very cartoony that caught the eyes of kids. Very
Yeah.
animated. Loved it. Had a lot of like really, really good. Yeah. Simpsons, I think, was also one of the first. But
Yeah.
Simpsons,
Agreed.
yeah, geared itself to being like an adult animation too. Simpsons is always going to be a classic forever. Um,
Yeah.
but to have Rocco's Modern Life on a cartoon, or excuse me, Nickelodeon that was geared towards
Yeah.
children, I think,
Mhm.
I don't think it, I don't know if it was meant to be there because it was very bizarre. Same with Ren and Stimpy, which
Oh yeah.
which became more adult-ish in their final seasons, I think.
Mhm.
Because it was just idiocy, absolute random lol kind of thing that I think that's also what helped us to become lol random XD raw kind of people in the early
Yeah.
2000s.
Uh, Agreed, Como. My parents, it wasn't too adult for The Simpsons for my family. It
Mm-hmm.
was just that my dad did not want us watching it because it showed the children disrespecting the dad and portraying the dad as incompetent. Like, my dad clearly told me that as to why he did not want us watching The Simpsons.
That's interesting. I think well, with my parents, we listened to what other people, because immigrants, right?
Yeah.
So if another person was like, "Yeah, this isn't show meant for kids," they'd believe it because they wouldn't know. They just wouldn't know. So I believe that's how a lot of the stuff that I wasn't allowed to watch was handed, because I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with my mom and my dad where it was like, "Why didn't you let me watch this?" And like, "Oh, well, we didn't know it was like a good thing for kids to watch. Like other people told us it wasn't, so we just believed them." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's fair. That makes I can't fault them for that."
Right.
Um, so that's why I wouldn't watch a lot of them. But yes, so going back, Shrek, and then we'll do Animaniacs because I have a lot for Animaniacs too.
Again, I think like Shrek is good. Shrek is lightning in a bottle. It is
It
a
is
fantastic
exactly.
movie. They did a great job with it. But I don't really like, yes, okay. Let me counter argue. I would not say Shrek is a family movie. I would probably say Shrek 2 is more of the family movie of them.
I feel like Shrek is a family movie, and this is why, because it encompasses the entire family. There are things that kids love, like the fairy tales and everything, and a very Beauty and the Beast story kind of thing. love what's on the inside. And it didn't, I guess, it didn't really like baby the kids. And I think that's why we loved it, was because it was so funny for kids to watch, but it didn't baby them. But it also had jokes that was specifically for adults to understand. And they did it so well. Like they did it so well because I watched it as a kid again. I mean, as an adult. And the jokes that were usually above my head, like hit me straight in the face. And I was like, how did I miss that? Like I did, my parents must raise me right because I was like stupid. Didn't understand any of that. And I do know like my parents actually liked it. So it was something that the whole family could honestly enjoy. And I don't think,
Right.
like you said, lightning in a bottle. I don't think that's going to happen again. As for Animaniacs, I don't think my parents
I
watched it.
my dad did because
Mm-hmm.
my dad actually openly told me that he liked watching cartoons. He liked watching the cartoon shows with me and my sister.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched like all kinds of things. Batman, Superman,
Yeah.
Batman Beyond, like Animaniacs, like kind of all of it, especially like the WB for kids stuff. He did not like a lot of the Cartoon Network stuff or the Nickelodeon stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but he did like what was shown on the WB for kids. So he would watch Animaniacs with us.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that had the most adult jokes.
As a
Like,
show, yes. Because again,
I would say in general, like, I don't think that, like, Shrek had the level of adult jokes that Animaniacs did.
I'm looking up how many seasons because I feel like they had, aside from the new seasons.
Right, agreed.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how many
Also, I have
seasons.
not seen any of the new stuff. I am strictly talking about, like, the original stuff.
So I watched the new stuff, and to be honest, I
It's on
do think,
Hulu, right?
what was that?
It's on Hulu, right?
Yes.
Or is it over on
No,
HBO?
I think it's on Hulu.
Okay.
And I've watched it, and to be honest, I feel like it's very muted. And I think that's why I can't see it as being a very like adult-ish show. I mean, it's good. It still does pop references out the wazoo very well. Um, but I do think that it was,
Hulu, yes.
yeah, I think it was more muted. So it's only 2 seasons. Nope,
How many
that's
episodes
the new
per
one. That's
season,
my
though?
bad. That was the new season. Hold up. I'm trying to
Because
see.
our definition of seasons have also changed,
5
like
seasons.
ratings have.
Yeah, so there
Yeah,
was
that
5
sounds
seasons of the
with what,
original.
26 episodes?
Yes. Let me see. There's no 5 seasons of. I'm trying to scroll here. Where are you? There was 65 episodes season 1, and then it changed
Oh,
to 4 episodes season 2, and then 13 episodes season 3, 8 episodes season 4, and 5, I mean, excuse me, 9 episodes season 5. And then Waka's Wish, which is the movie thing, like the special or
so it
whatever.
says that there are 99 number of episodes.
Mhm. So that was a lot. Goodness, and it ran until 1999. So a lot of those jokes definitely went over my head because it came out in 1993. I was like
Yeah.
2. So I didn't watch it as I know I watched it much older as an older child. For sure. Sorry. But yes, so Animaniacs you say has more adult jokes, but I also has 99 episodes. So they could fill that shit with all the jokes.
Okay, but I'm specifically talking about the quality of the joke too, being
Mm-hmm.
more adult. And that Shrek doesn't hit it as hard as Animaniacs does.
Mm-hmm. I
And
can
that's
agree to
my
that. I
argument.
can agree to that.
And that's why I say Animaniacs is
Do
like
you know any examples?
I think the most iconic one is the fingerprint.
Yes. And I think the only reason why that's the most iconic is because it blew up on online,
Yeah.
and people are like, "Oh shit, they actually said that? We didn't even realize." Because duh, we
And
didn't
I
know
think
that.
it's also like the easiest to format for
Mhm.
the internet, if that makes sense. So you don't need like a huge amount of context. All you need is Wacko being like dust for or like search for Prince, and Dot shows up with Prince, and Wacko's like no fingerprint, and Dot's like I don't think so. So it's a very like condensed.
Yes. And then they moved on quickly. Like they moved on to the next thing so fast. So
Right.
it like you can try and register it, but then they just keep on smoothing, like boom, into the next thing.
Like children understand it's like, oh, they made a mistake. Ha ha, it's funny that way. Older
Yes.
kids are just like if you move on fast enough, they're not going to have like time to really process it. While the adults fully understand what's going on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So,
Um
but yeah, so I
and I
agree.
know there are other like that's the one that's most iconic that everyone's going to know, but like that's why I say that Animaniacs hits their adult jokes harder than Shrek does.
I feel like yes and no. And the only reason why I say that is because Shrek makes jokes. But the one thing that I didn't realize as a kid that people pointed out, and they edited it out, right?
Okay.
Was Lord Farquaad was sitting in bed and he was staring at the
Oh
picture
yeah.
of Fiona on the mirror and everything. And apparently, I see this now because now
Yeah.
I realize he had a bit of a, he was turned on. Let's just say he was turned on and you saw it. And
Yeah.
that's why he looked down, quickly looked up and pulled up the blanket higher, right? And I was like, I never understood that as a child. I was like, why did he do that? Like, I guess he's just embarrassed. I thought he was embarrassed because he was half naked and for the camera. So he pulled up his blanket. That was not the case until someone
Which is
pointed out.
fair for children. Like you don't understand
No,
like
obviously.
the
Yeah,
fourth wall as a child. Like you don't
right.
understand that it's like what you as an audience member understands and knows
Yes.
doesn't mean that the character knows. Most of the
Yes.
characters anyway. Deadpool always knows.
Right. And it's funny because now taking that joke, Shrek also says, is he, like when he was building the tower and it's like very, very big, he's like, do you think he's
Mm.
compensating for something? And I'm like, okay, it's his height, right? It's not just his height because of what I saw at the blanket thing. And I was like, okay,
Right.
I see now. Everything is coming together. So I feel like that was, as far as jokes go, that was a very, very adult joke that you have to like really look to spot it. And they did it very
You have
well.
to look for it though.
Yes. I mean, I wasn't
Well,
paying attention.
Animaniacs wasn't subtle about that kind of shit. They straight up said it, and then it's just like, you get it, you get it. If you know, you know,
Yeah.
kind of
I feel
situation.
like when I say look for it, I think the pattern on the blanket also made it harder for kids to try and, because we don't look at the blanket, we look at him, the Farquad.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, they got away with it. They did. And out of the fingerprints and that thing, I was just like,
You're probably right, Kuma, because we are kind of giving perspective on this very specific
yes,
situation from perspective of women.
yes, that is absolutely true. I also feel like little boys bring, yeah, no, I can understand that for sure. For sure. That's why I'm like, that was an adult joke that they finally edited out, by the way, because I don't think you can find it in any streaming service. Um,
That's my. I'm a little disappointed in streaming services for that reason. They do edit that shit out.
Streaming services, I've realized, edited a lot of things out.
A lot of things.
Because I watched Men in Black yesterday, which is not a kid's film, but you know, we watched it yesterday. And I found some weird edits that I was talking to my husband about. And I was like, shouldn't this be like this? Do you remember it being like this? And he was like, yeah, that's a weird edit that streaming services do because they do. They do edit.
Yeah.
And it sucks that they do that. But yes, so Shrek and Animaniacs, 10 out of 10 adult jokes. I
And like they got them past the censor,
They
which
did.
like
They did.
astounds me honestly. It's like as adults now, it's like how did you get that past the censors? I don't think the censors were as sensitive back then
I
as they are
agree.
nowadays.
I
Um,
agree. Like I said, I feel like
but
it's so much
still,
softer
some of
now.
them were just a little too in your face. But that just
Yes.
proves kids are dumb.
Yes, to be honest, I expected you guys to talk about the whole HBO streaming thing. I want to really badly because I'm absolutely pissed.
What's happening with HBO? I don't have HBO still.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
don't
you would have heard it. So we're just gonna take a step here.
ADHD engaged. Let's
Yes,
roll.
it happened this
We should
week.
have like a warning. You know how we have like trigger and like spoiler warning? We need like an
ADD warning.
ADHD warning.
Yeah. So it happened this week. News came out this week that
Okay.
HBO Max now had a merger. I think I told you with Discovery, and they're going to merge together, right?
I don't. I remember you talking about like Discovery.
Yes. So yeah, it's HBO Max and Discovery. They're going to start merging together under WB,
Okay.
which fuck WB, fuck it right in the ass. And what they're doing is they're cutting a lot of shows from HBO Max, and HBO Max was considered one of the greatest streaming services. Because I agree, I love HBO Max,
Yeah.
but they're cutting if they didn't have already so many shows, and the shows that they're cutting are animation
Of course
of
it
all
is.
kinds, like
Because they
Infinity
want to
Train.
focus.
The reason why I got it was for Infinity Train. It's gone. And the thing of it is, they're scrubbing them. Like there's Infinity Train, OKKO, Close Enough, which I really liked as like an adult show. Loved it. And what was it? Mau Mau? That's gone. They are scrubbing that from view of anything. Like you can no longer stream it anywhere. They cannot go to a different streaming service or company to upload their show because it belongs to HBO Max and they will not let them. So many of the animators and creators are absolutely livid because now they have no one to watch their show that they created for this particular platform. And HBO is doing nothing to help them. Like they're doing nothing. They're
I mean,
just
like I'm not surprised.
yes,
Like
and
I'm not
yeah,
because it's always been about the money.
exactly. The reason why they did it was so that it would be cheaper. What was it like? To save money for their investors. That is why they did it. And I'm sorry, I'm getting heated because I remember when I read this, it was at work too, and I was reading this, and I was just like, it just makes me so mad. How, yeah, a lot of animators have straight left the business because their entire life work and reference portfolio is 100% gone. This brought up the conversation of having like a digital copy, not a digital copy, a physical copy of their work, like DVDs and stuff like that. Because now we can't watch this. There is not, unless you know, are mateys, until like you can't watch it. Because some of these shows were created specifically for HBO Max, like Close Enough, like the other seasons of Infinity Train, like the later
So
seasons
I
of
have a
Infinity Train.
question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna derail the derailment. I'm gonna completely derail your like rage. With two things. It makes sense now that they're doing that because they want to focus on remaking things. So they are now like remaking Game of Thrones with like this
Oh,
new
yeah.
season and the
I
new
hate that.
like person or whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, why are you trying to hold on to something that made you iconic and that's like completely irrelevant? Like Game of Thrones was a huge part of pop culture for a
Mm-hmm.
while and then just completely went away.
No,
But
the reason why is
secondly,
because so many people were furious with the last season. That was why.
I mean, yeah, that's fair, but
And then
now
that's
they
why
have
they
like
scrubbed it
completely
off.
new characters.
Yeah. It's the fans
But
that make the show.
second thing
Mm-hmm.
is that if they're getting rid of all this animation,
Mm-hmm.
we always suspected that Has Been Hotel being done by
Oh yeah, I thought
A24
about that too.
was
It's not gonna.
gonna go to HBO.
I don't think so. In
Now
fact,
it looks like it's gonna end up going to Netflix.
no. I think, in fact, I think it was going to go to HBO because it is A24.
Mhm.
I think with this news come out, it could be a possibility that the creator of Has Been Hotel, Vizzy Pop,
Mhm.
um, may be panicking. But that's
Mm.
just. But again, it could be on Netflix. Who knows? But I
I
do
mean,
genuinely
if
believe that.
she sold the rights to it, then she there's nothing she can do about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. So it
And
really
this
depends.
just supports my argument that it's like
And if
she should have just kept it. She
no,
should
I
have
agree.
kept it and continued to make it a web show
Mm-hmm.
because
Well.
nobody likes the changes that they were releasing that A24 was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And my argument is it's like if you didn't want it to change, you should have encouraged her to keep doing it.
Right, but this is where I think she, if this was on HBO Max, and why she would panic is that they cannot, if they had the rights to it and they never aired it, would she still be able to air it somewhere else? Because that is what a lot of other creators who are going through this right now is are dealing with. Because now they have no way to save their show, like none. Um, and it's heartbreaking because I've seen the Twitter of them tweeting their, because they, a lot of them found out the same way we found, the day we found out, like us the regulars, that their show was getting canceled, all because of this fucking merger. And when I say the outrage, because this was trending for so long,
Mhm.
the outrage that fans had about this, and as I think HBO, because it's not just animation shows, it's just the majority is animation, right?
Right.
And I think the outrage was so big, like so huge, because everyone's like, HBO was a very, like, one of the best live streaming, like, or streaming services to have, and they fucked over their creators. I don't want to be a, because the only reason was, a lot of them was like, the only reason I watch this is for this show and this show with my kids and this show for adults and stuff like that. I don't want to watch this. I am not going to subscribe to HBO Max. The
Right.
threat level was so real that I hope HBO sees it, because I genuinely believe that the people make the streaming services, make the shows and everything. That it was. You see me raging now.
Mm.
Take mine and multiply it by like thousands and thousands of people who were just so upset, because that's how many people were so upset by all this, including the creators. The rage is real. Um, it's not just the canceled shows. It's like the Disney Vault. Some are fully completed shows and they're just gone. Yep. And some of them, I think, what was it? What's that camping one? Hold up. Let me see if I can find it.
Hey,
Hmm? Yeah.
apparently like it dropped.
Oh, did it? No.
Yeah. For me.
Mm. Is it back on? It didn't drop for me. Summer camp. That's what it is. So I think Summer Camp Island was said to be released. The final season was supposed to be released this year, but I don't think it would be. If it did, like if it just released, then not a lot of people got to see the final season, and now it's gone forever. Everything wiped off, gone. You can't find it anywhere. I mean, I think you could, but legally it's gone. Legally, you can't find it anywhere, and that's heartbreaking. Like, it's very heartbreaking. And I.
But to move away from this,
Mm-hmm.
which this is a derailment, a complete derailment of our topic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you,
Mm-hmm.
well, I was coming up with topics for humor, just because that's what I grew up around and the things I noticed as I became an adult. You were more aware of action
Oh yes,
moments.
but before we continue that, I still got some humor points that I would like to point out.
Okay.
I told
Are we
I talked
talking about Animaniacs or Shrek?
I'm talking about cars, baby. Disney Pixar's
Cars.
Cars.
Oh,
Sorry, we gotta.
okay. That was a good
Oh
one.
my
But
god, it was
you
so
mentioned
good.
it to me at work, and it's like, when did Cars come out? You go ahead and you give your example, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
pull
because
up some information about Cars.
I was about to say. So we were talking about adult jokes that went over kids' heads, essentially, and we talked about Cars, like the Disney Pixar film Cars,
Hmm.
and I didn't catch this before, but I definitely caught it eventually. I was like, oh my god, they got away with this. And it was when Lightning McQueen got so excited about, I guess, the Piston Cup, and then
Yeah.
Mater goes, he did what in his cup? And I was just
Um,
like, that was hilarious that they got away with that. It was
it
smooth.
was a 2006 movie, so I would have been 15.
Yeah, it was, yeah, around that too. 10 out of 10.
Um,
Good joke,
yep.
because I was like, wow, they actually it and the thing of it is he said it and they just moved quickly on to the next scene, like quickly onto what they were saying next. And it was so funny. I don't know if they edited out for Disney Plus or something. I hope not. But
I don't think so because that is something that should go over kids' heads because they did play Mater kind of dumb.
mhm.
Like a very heartwarming person, kind of wise beyond his intelligence. So like, I think they played that off well enough that they shouldn't have to edit it out.
No, I hope so. And yes, the fans that flashed their headlights and all the convertible waitresses were, yes. Yes, especially the
So again, I
flashing.
was 15. I
I got that.
caught
I
all
caught
of
that.
that.
Yeah, as a teenager, I caught that. I was like, "Oh shit, they act."
And it was
Yes.
really clever
It
too
really
because oh,
was.
flashing, I'm just like
Yes.
I was kind of shook at how clever that was though.
It really was. Like Cars did very, very well in terms of adult jokes like that.
Also, like looking at the cast, I'm like, holy shit, they like
It was an
why did
all-star
I not
cast.
appreciate Yeah,
Mhm.
why did I not appreciate this? Owen Wilson, Paul
Mhm.
Newman, Larry the Cable Guy,
Mhm.
Tony Shell ooh no, clicked on something I shouldn't have. Tony Shalhoub,
Shalhoub, Tony
give me a
Shalhoub.
second.
Mhm.
Yeah, who's Monk, everybody would know him
Mhm.
as Monk. John Goodman, obviously. Um, John Ratzenberger, Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
Billy Crystal. Like,
Mhm.
I
And
did not appreciate that movie enough as a teenager.
oh really? No, yeah.
Really.
Mhm. I remember when I watched it, it had an all-star cast. My my mom watched the show from like or listened to a show on NPR called Car Talk, and
Yeah.
the two hosts of the show were the two guys who sponsored Lightning McQueen, and I thought that was very clever that they did that.
Yeah. I remember that too.
And I was like, that's really nice, because it's like, don't drive like my brother, don't drive like my brother kind of deal. Like
Yeah.
it was. I loved it. Like I definitely paid attention to the cast of that film for sure because it was an all-star cast, and I think also that is why it became very popular. Not only because it was geared towards like boys and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
because of its all-star cast and its jokes, and it really didn't just gear towards boys, but a lot of girls liked it too. You know?
Not just boys, like across the country, boys, but in the South, it was
Oh,
geared the South
yes,
because
that I agree.
NASCAR and car racing like that is a very southern thing. Like,
Yes.
yeah, they focus on like Route 66 and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was kind of gender neutral for a southerner.
Yeah, no, that I agree with for sure. Slightly off topic, but also topic. Have you guys seen the video of Gravity Falls creator back and forth with Disney censors? Yes, I did. I follow Alex Hirsch on Twitter. I love him. I did.
I haven't seen that. I absolutely see that little man being absolutely feral about Gravity Falls.
Wait, who?
Alex Hirsch.
I
It's
love
just like,
Alex
no,
Hirsch.
I will absolutely argue with you 8 ways to Sunday about shit.
Yeah, no, because it was his show. And out of
Yeah.
like he's always been the kind of guy who really pushed for how he wanted his show to be run. Gravity Falls is one of my favorites. Like I love Gravity Falls. It hits everything that I love in a show, even if it's for kids. I even got the journal. Bet.
Okay, I will concede and say like Gravity Falls was probably also like a family show.
It's a very good family
And not
show. It's quippy. It's
because
quippy as hell.
Grunkle
And like,
Stan
oh
was
yeah,
a very, very like was for the adult. His humor, all of
yes.
everything he said was for the adults. It wasn't sexual like a lot of the older stuff was,
Mm-hmm.
Shrek, Animaniacs, what we grew up on. But there were jokes that were absolutely for the adults. But we focused on children as our main characters
Mm-hmm.
throughout the show and their adventures.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are just so quippy and clever. I think that's why I love it. It was such a clever show. And also, it had a bit of an ARG aspect to it too, where you solve the code and it gives you hints about stuff. Like it was just so good. I loved Gravity Falls. And I'm glad it was only 2 seasons. I'm sad it was only 2 seasons, but Alex Hirsch did not want to keep it going. He's like 2 seasons is enough to tell my story.
Right.
But yes, I did see the the back and forth because a lot of it was language and hinting of because we all know that the cops they're gay for each other. I ship them,
Yeah.
but he couldn't really play on that fact because of the censors. You know,
Right.
there's like, no, we shouldn't have this for kids or something like that.
Because this was coming out before Steven Universe, right?
I thought it was around the same time.
I'm gonna look
Steven
it up
Universe is
because I
old.
don't like again, it I a lot of my time placement is like really distorted
Mm.
after COVID.
No, that's fair.
Um,
But I do think it was around the same time because Steven Universe has been on for a while, like a long time. Um,
oh, it's on HBO or not HBO, Hulu.
mhm.
Okay, so it's on Disney Plus as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because they've
it's definitely
moved
Disney
a
Plus.
lot of things that aren't Disney specific, but Disney owns over to Hulu,
Oh yeah, no,
which is
it was. I
frustrating.
was about to say it is Disney owned, which just makes it funnier because he's arguing with the big wigs at Disney,
Right.
because it was a Disney show, and I think it was so popular that they wouldn't have not put it on Disney Plus because it was just iconic
Right.
show.
So it was a 2012 production. So for Gravity Falls, I'm moving over to Steven Universe now.
Hmm. Well, while you're doing that, I'll talk about Gravity
Okay, yeah.
Falls to help segue into the more not as funny stuff.
Bitch, 2013.
Oh, really? So wait.
Yep,
Oh, wow. Wait, when was Gravity Falls again?
2012.
Oh God, I didn't know it started right after. Holy shit! I think because I feel like what was it, Steven Universe took a lot longer because of what they did to Rebecca Sugar constantly.
Yeah.
That's why I
The
think it was
final
longer.
episode for Steven Universe was 2019,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
for Gravity Falls, it was 2016. So I
Mm-hmm.
think he was like implanting the gay cops from the very beginning, while with Steven Universe, it was very subtle and very gradual with the introduction
Oh
of the
yes,
lesbians.
yes,
It was
yes, yes,
mostly lesbians because all of our crystals present female.
yes. Agreed. Um, but yeah. So it's talking about Steven Universe and adult themes and whatever. So not Steven Universe. Yes, Steven Universe. Because we were talking about this too. Steven Universe did really, really well in presenting like what PTSD is. Because a lot
But
of
that
kids,
wasn't until Steven Universe Future,
yes,
though.
until Steven Universe Future. But the fact that they acknowledge that this kid went through something called PTSD and is dealing with anxiety and everything like that in a kids show was something that was never done before. And you don't
But
even
it's
see it
not really a kid show at that point because the original show took 6 years to air.
right. But
So by the point we get to Steven Universe, the people who like the children that were invested with Steven Universe are now young adults with Steven Universe Future. So it's no longer a kid show.
It would still, the thing of it is, I would still argue it is a kid's show. Maybe not geared towards kids, maybe has a more mature theme. But I still see kids, like actual, like smaller kids, watched Steven Universe Future. They may not understand it, but I still think that it is a kid's show.
But
It
it
still
was
has a kids.
made for kids.
It
It was made for the
it had a
audience
kids
that
rating.
grew up with it.
We did talk about ratings. It did have a kids rating. It wasn't meant for new audiences, but doesn't mean that new audiences did not see it. And it had a kids
I
rating.
mean, new audiences are always going to see stuff
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but again,
because it's introduced by the older audience.
right. But that is not what we're saying. We're saying kids shows by ratings. It is technically a kids show that dealt with more mature themes like mental health, which I feel like not even adult shows can handle sometimes. They did it so well. I feel like it's up to animators or people who are dealing with kids shows, including Disney and like DreamWorks and stuff like that. They have to take up
I
the
would,
mantle to teach their children what mental health is, because a lot of adults and adult shows do not deal with that.
well, like, I argue with it. It's easier to normalize things like mental health with children because if we try to approach it with adults, the adults would reject and deny it.
I feel like either older millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers, yes. Because a lot of millennials now really understand the value of mental health.
Right.
And especially Gen Z and early, I guess later,
Mhm.
very much so. Like alphas, they understand mental health and family trauma
And that's because,
and
like,
stuff.
a lot of times, like, the healthier, like, we agree that there are toxic and non-toxic of every generation.
Yes.
So, like, the healthier of the Gen Xers,
Mm-hmm.
because they are the parents of Zoomers and some alphas,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the healthier of the millennials of the Zoomers and alphas
Mm-hmm.
are encouraging that.
Yeah. Because we recognize this is a problem.
Hmm.
Um, but I do think like you said, a lot of older millennials, some I can speak to who just do not believe in mental health, or they think like it's a scam, or we're snowflakes for believing in it. It's all that stuff. That is a thing I've seen. And Gen Xers, it's a mix between those two, but definitely Gen Z has a better understanding, and I think alphas have a better, like the alpha generation also has a better understanding as well.
I would like to notate I've always said Zoomers are feral.
Oh
It has
yeah,
now come to my attention that alphas are completely unhinged.
yes, that's exactly how
Like
it
we
is.
think some millennials are unhinged, it's just like no, it's like 1,000 times worse. And I love it.
I think it's because a lot of the alphas are millennial kids, like
Exactly.
millennials kids, and we're like, listen,
Yeah.
we got fucked over. You're not going to get fucked over. We're going to raise you so you don't get pushed around. Boom, bam, out the gate,
And we're gonna
unhinged.
also raise you on the unhinged shit we grew up on.
Yes, agreed. Um, but adult themes that I again, sorry, we completely derailed in shows. I feel like that's the thing. I think that also Hey Arnold dealt with stuff like that.
Agreed. I will absolutely give you that because it's
But
like and it was with each student had something different.
yes, and like I loved Hey Arnold. I think the reason why I became a psychologist was because of fucking Hey Arnold. Because Hey Arnold in the show, it dealt with not only kids like problems, but this popped up recently.
Well,
It
kind of
was
the adult problems viewed through a child's
eyes,
eyes.
yes, but also it dealt with like actual adult problems. For example, his they did an episode, like a Christmas episode, where the Asian father talked to Harry Arnold on
Yes.
Christmas that he gave up his daughter during a time of war. Like that is an adult theme, that it taught like as for a child, it was insane. It was so sad. I hate that Christmas. I love and hate that Christmas episode because it makes me sad. It has a happy ending, mind you. It does have a happy ending. Um, so, I'm sorry, Red. I just ADHD moment. I love your ADHD. Thank you, Kumo. But yeah, sorry. So Hey Arnold. But another thing that came recently, thanks to TikTok, was a Hey Arnold episode dealing with addiction, and
Yeah.
it was um, an addiction to like it was a character named Chocolate Boy and his addiction to
Okay.
chocolate.
I remember that one.
Yes, and the fact that Hey Arnold wanted like he wanted to like the chocolate boy wanted to stop eating chocolate so that his reward was more chocolate, right? And Hey
Yeah.
Arnold wanted to help him just stop his addiction, period. Like no chocolate at all. Eventually he did not have chocolate, like and you see like the relapse, like it taught about addictions. And he relapsed and he won the bet. He got like a 10-pound bag of chocolate and the kids started bullying him with it. Like they threw chocolate at him and told him to dance for the chocolate and all that stuff. And that showed his level of addiction. And he even said like he would crawl through like garbage, like the dumpsters to find chocolate. That and like you present that in a way that's meant for kids, but as an
Yeah.
adult and you see that, that is like how addiction is. And
Mhm.
so he eventually goes back to Arnold and he's like, I really actually do want to cure my addiction. I don't want to be this person anymore. Like, I don't want to be a person dancing for chocolate because like, it's just embarrassing. So he eventually weans himself out chocolate. Arnold sits him down. He does the therapy thing where he's like, let's look into your past, why you have an addiction to this thing, all this stuff, like an actual therapist would. Loved it. Loved that episode. And eventually he ended up not being like, he stopped being addicted to chocolate, but ended up addicted to radishes, which is a healthier form of an addiction, but still an addiction. And they
Mhm.
were like, you did your best, like to Arnold, like you can't just stop completely of an addiction, you just find another thing to be addicted to that might be a little bit healthier, but still an addiction. And eventually, you could stop maybe being addicted to something, right?
And that's like a very like mature content in a very childlike way that really
Yes.
went over like children's heads.
Yeah, because
One
we're
thing
like
that
chocolate.
stood out to me the most was they had like a science fair episode. Like any like elementary school, middle school, high school slice of life show will always have like a science fair episode or
Mm-hmm.
two. And I remember them doing the science like or just like a science project for the class.
Mm-hmm.
Um and the one thing that stood out to me, instead of having the traditional like volcano or like molecule like project,
Yeah.
was the little Asian girl and the really tall, lanky boy doing the Pavlov experiment.
Oh, yes.
Like on like a really on the nose, very mature like it because these were what, elementary school
Yeah, they
kids?
were fourth graders, I think.
Yeah, like late elementary school.
Yeah.
That was a very, very mature science project for fourth graders
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
really stuck out to me.
Like the show itself, I think presented a lot of good adult themes in some episodes, not all, but in a way that's digestible for kids. But it's
Hmm.
not only just the kids who have the problems, it's also the adults that have the problems, which I feel is like fantastic. I
Right.
love that they did that. And I love Hey Arnold for that because I genuinely believe that's why I watched it so much as a kid. I loved his empathy, like Hey Arnold's empathy to help people.
Can I derail us one more time
Yeah.
about Hey Arnold? I find it very interesting in comparison to New York settings and California settings. While the New York settings and people are a lot more wholesome and almost seem less toxic. Yes, they're very abrasive. Yes, they're assholes, but they seem less toxic. in the community than how Californians are portrayed in media.
I think so. I could see that because New York has, well, technically, yeah, it's like a fictional New York
Yeah,
ish thing.
like in New York inspired.
Yes, I can see that. Um,
Like it's very clearly not um California, and it's
no, yes,
probably not Chicago.
no, I don't think so. I always thought it was New York
Right.
because of its diversity and everything. Like, not saying that they
Right.
aren't diverse in
And the
Chicago or,
buildings, and I
yes, the
remember the
style of the buildings.
bridge always portrayed. And I don't think Chicago really has that many bridges, while New York does.
Mm-hmm.
Like New York State, New York City kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could not tell you what. Um, I'm sure there are New Yorkers who could. I, as a Southerner who has never been to New York, could not tell you which district it would be and which community it would be.
It's confirmed New York. All right, confirmed New York. Because I was about to
Yeah.
say it does seem like New York, which is
I
interesting.
think they have like the Statue of Liberty portrayed somewhere. I
Oh,
think maybe in the opening.
I think you might be right.
It's been a
It's been a
very
minute.
long time. It's been a very long
Mm-hmm.
time for me.
It's been a hot minute.
Um, but we're getting towards the end of this, and we haven't even really talked about action like you wanted
Yeah.
to. Like
I was
we
well
were
technically I was
unfortunately already gearing ourselves up before we even started talking about the podcast.
yeah, I was about to say. I also I say adult themes because like that as a show was a very it had a lot of adult themes that I thought was easy digestible as a kid, but rewatching it because I rewatched Hey Arnold in like college and growing up, um, I understood more about what it meant, you know,
Hmm.
as an adult, and I can really appreciate the show. You could still rewatch the show now, and of course they still deal with kid problems, but some of the episodes that deal with like adult problems was really really well done. I really really loved it. Um, but going on towards action, because this is what started our conversation. Was I
Well,
brought
for your side of the argument anyway,
yes
because
for my
I
art
always was, yeah.
because we talked about in Disney films right now, the two that popped up that I will present is not a lot of action in Disney films
Hmm.
really showcased like violence, I guess, in a way that Atlantis did. Here's why I say that.
Hmm.
You said a lot of the deaths in Atlantis, because there's a lot of deaths in Atlantis. Were kind.
We would both highly suggest watching Film Theories uh, by Matt Pat, um, the Disney Kill
Oh
Count
yes, the Disney kill count.
series.
Yes, yes.
He did 3 videos on trying to find the Disney movie with the highest kill count. I would highly suggest those
Right.
3 videos.
Um, but Atlantis was actually very
Tied
violent
for
for a
number
kid.
two.
Huh?
It was tied for number two.
Yes, yes. But Atlantis was very violent for a kid.
Hmm.
And you pointed out, well, a lot of the death was off screen because of the father. Like he get punched, you see him die off screen, like you don't see the internal bleeding or anything. And I argued, hold up, hold up, hold up. Don't forget the
Yeah,
escape
like as
pod that
adults, we understand that there is a lot of death. Like
yes,
we understand
we
that.
understand, but not all of it was off screen because I still remember the scene. I thought this was the coolest thing because I think this is why I also liked Atlantis so much. It showed action, not blood, but a lot of like death action right in front of you. For me, my kid self, because I watched a lot of Indiana Jones, I watched like a lot. I loved action films. This was a very good adventure action film. Um, but you hear the two guys in the escape pod saying, "We're getting killed out here," and then they switch the scene, and you see them actually getting zapped, and their entire pod explodes before your very eyes. And I was like, that wasn't an off-screen death. That was right there in front of me. Thought that was so
Okay,
cool.
it's off screen because it's a faceless death.
It's I don't necessarily consider that a faceless death if it's you don't want to see the body explode. Not
Oh, I'm not
all
talking
like
about the body explode, but like it like we have a voice, but we don't have a face, and
yes
we
we do.
don't
It's
like
the
have
two
the
there was two guys in the they showed the two guys in the escape pod before they died. Like the faces of those guys before they died. I can show you. I'll we're gonna after the stream I'll show you and I'll tell you where.
okay, because it is Disney, and
It
we
is Disney. It
we
is
we have to
Disney.
be a lot more careful with Disney than we can be with Nintendo.
Right. Oh yes, yes, yes. We can't show it on stream. It has to be off stream.
Yeah.
Um but that
But we should give timestamps of what where in the movie and
yes.
put it on the Twitter account for people to have opinions about.
Yes, yes, yes. Um it's that scene and the scene when the hull is breached and you see oh, what's her
Specifically
name?
on the submarine,
Yes,
yes.
specifically on the submarine. So it's a little bit earlier. Uh
Around the engines because we are following
Audrey.
Audrey at that point. Yep.
Yes. Audrey runs and it was Audrey and I think two or three there was three people behind her, three men behind her. And one of them got through and two of them stayed behind while she closes the hull door to keep the water from entering anymore. Um and you see those two guys never made it. And you see those faces. And as a kid I was like, "Oop, they're dead. I saw Titanic. They're dead. They're fucking dead." And I was like, the fact that they showed that blew my mind. Because, like, you have to close it makes sense because you have to close the door so that water doesn't get in and we don't keep sinking, right?
Right.
10 out of 10 action. Was it meant for kids? I liked it as a kid. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
I liked it. Because, again, I grew
Love
up
that
with,
movie as a kid.
huh?
Love the movie as a kid.
Loved it. Absolutely loved the action. Because it didn't, like, they didn't hold my hand throughout this whole movie. And I love that Disney actually pushed the boundaries
They
for this
didn't
fan.
hold your hand, but they still made it safe.
Yes, they still made it safe. Because I feel like as an adventure film, Atlantis was just iconic as an adventure film.
Hmm.
Like, I loved that they did that. And so I'm like, was it an adult theme? Yes, because a lot of kids didn't probably had to deal with death firsthand, especially when you're going on an adventure. Not everyone's gonna live through it. In other previous Disney films, when they go on an adventure, everyone's fine. You just know like the main characters are fine, all the side characters are fine, no one's getting hurt. In this film, they're like, no, people get hurt. A lot of people don't come out of this, and
Right.
they did like the respectful, like I guess funeral scene where they lit the candle and set it to sail.
So they didn't shy away from death. Like
No.
it was like clearly stated multiple times throughout the movie of death. So like at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning with the Great Flood, it's like
Mm-hmm.
we've lost so many of our people. Like our people are slowly dying.
Yeah.
Like they don't shy away from that. And then it's like we have the memorial service that is just like we had I don't remember how many people he said they had and that we're now only down to a few hundred of us.
Yes.
Um and then we also have faceless deaths towards the end with
Yes.
the hot air balloon because
Yes.
all of the bad people that end up dying, except for Helga and well, I forget his name. I completely forgot his name.
Rourke.
Um, Rourke. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say Ron, and I'm like, no, that's not
No,
right.
I love his
Kind of.
name Rourke because I've never heard a name like
It's
that.
a
It's
fantastic name.
so
I
good.
agree with you. But it's like we have two face deaths, kind of, but
Mm-hmm.
not really, because Helga is again off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the same for Rourke. All their minions are faceless. All of them are
Mm-hmm.
faceless.
Mm-hmm. 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 Because they have the gas masks
We
and stuff
aren't
on.
supposed to feel sympathetic for their death. Like we
Yes.
have the exact same problem in Star Wars Rebels, not
Yes.
Clone Wars. Clones, we have faces, we know who they are. Yes, we have a lot of faceless deaths, but we also see most of the clones' faces.
Yeah.
So we are meant to have a connection with these characters. While
Mm-hmm.
Rebels, the stormtroopers all keep their helmets on, and they're
Yes.
all faceless death.
And I agree, like the with in that scene, a lot of them had like the gas masks on, so you can't
Hmm.
tell. And I think the reason why they put it is because like this is the mercenary side versus the actual exploration in the very beginning, where you do see their faces because they have nothing to hide. They were just explorers that wanted to find Atlantis, and then that happened.
Right.
Um,
Because we are supposed to feel bad for
hmm
their death because they
yes,
were
because they were
innocent,
i-
I guess is the best way
innocent
to put
quote maybe.
it. Yeah, I don't have a better word for it. I'm struggling with my words today. I don't really have a better word. They're
Oh my
kind
god.
of
Sorry, I
innocent.
read Kumo's. Let me just. I'm sorry. ADHD. Lol, clones have faces. Well, yeah, they're clones. If you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Shut your fucking mouth, Kumo.
I love it.
You know what?
I love
But
it. Good
you,
joke.
of
10 out of
all
10.
people, know what I'm talking about with that. You shut your fucking face.
Loved it.
Get off
But
my chat with that bullshit.
it was. Listen, that shit funny. But anyway, yes. Continue. Sorry.
But I don't really have a better word than other than innocence at this time.
Yeah.
I will be more than happy to take. But like they are innocent
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of the good guys. We're like Atlantis was still good versus bad. Didn't really have a lot of gray in
What?
it.
Yes, it did. I would argue. Yes, it did.
I would argue against it.
See, the reason why I think that it was a little bit gray area was because the bad people weren't bad. Like the team that we followed weren't bad. They did bad things. Like what did the demolition say? Like they were plundering tombs,
Vinny.
double parking. They did bad things, but
But here's the thing,
they
it
weren't bad
but that's off screen. That is backstory we were not given
Until
just then.
later. Until
Like,
later, yes.
but when it came down to it, they had to either be good or they had to be bad. They could not stay gray.
Yes, but they were gray characters in the beginning. That's why when you felt for them because in the campfire scene, I'm sorry, I love breaking down Atlantis. I love it. I love that film. In the campfire scene, Milo's like, "Aren't you here to just explore and see what you can find?" They're like, "No, I'm here for the money. I'm here for the money. For the money." And like, it's
I
not an
think that
evil
was an
thing.
adult. I think that was an adult joke. On well,
Yeah.
not a joke, but like that was for the adult.
Yes, because like
Like it's one
Milo
of
was
no.
naive. Like he wanted the adventure. They weren't naive. They were like, "No, we're doing this for the money." Straight up.
Well,
Because
here's the thing. It's like Milo was given his childhood dream of adventure and
mhm.
the opportunity to go find Atlantis. He was fully given that was full support.
Mhm.
To be able to support that, people had to be paid to support him.
Yes.
So he is fulfilling a dream
But
and
in
not
the
have to worry about any of this, while the others are very realistic, very worldly, and understanding it's like bills have to be paid.
well,
And if
no.
I'm doing this, I have to be paid for it.
It's not I don't believe that's it completely. They're using the money to achieve their own dreams. Because again, in the camp scene, when they're all getting ready for camp, they all open up about what they want to do with that money, what their dreams are. Like Audrey wants to open another shop with her dad, and God, what's his
Vinny.
Vinny, thank you, wants to open
Why
a
do you keep
flower shop.
forgetting that poor man's name?
I don't know. Vinny wants to open a flower shop and stuff like that. Like they all have dreams. But they're using the money to try and achieve those dreams. And that's
Because
why
they don't have somebody to just openly back up their dreams.
exactly. Well, yes and no. Because I feel like Audrey would be a little bit different because, at the time, a lot of women didn't own businesses or like stuff like that or were engineers. So
Well, like
good for
all of those
Audrey.
people were minorities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which I love that they did that, by the
Vinny
way.
was Italian. At
Absolutely.
that point in time, Italians were still very racially
Mm-hmm.
hated upon,
Mm-hmm.
even though in modern time we consider them Caucasian
Yeah. No, I
or
agree.
white. So, like,
Um,
every single person on that team was a minority.
right. But I think this is why they were this is why I think they were morally gray. because they had dreams and they were willing to, because again, they were mercenaries. Everyone, like, they knew that they were mercenaries before Milo knew that they were mercenaries. And until they actually sat, because remember, they explored the Atlantis themselves. None of them knew that Atlanteans actually existed. They thought there was just going to be pottery and like ruins and stuff.
Mhm.
When they finally explored Atlantis and they saw the people, that's how I believe they connected. Like, oh, we are going to be ruining this entire civilization, because Milo was the one who pointed it out. He was like, yeah, just you're literally killing off an entire civilization for what? Money? So that you can do your dreams? Like, that is where I think it was morally gray. And of course, they all chose to be good because they were like, this is wrong. And you know it. We know we're mercenaries, but this is a line we can't cross. And I love that they did that because it's like a redemption kind of arc that they did. Especially with Joshua Sweet, the doctor, the hot doctor. God, I love him. Who did not expect Rourke to literally kill a guy in front of him,
Yeah.
because that goes against everything he, as a medical practitioner, stood against.
Yeah.
Um,
And the
which
moral codes that they've apparently always had because they've
exactly.
never dealt with a a living culture.
Mm-hmm. They all
That
thought they
they
were
made
dead.
that very clear. They, as that group, now
Mm-hmm.
Rourke probably, Helga probably, but our group that we love, they never dealt with a living culture.
No. Mm-mm. Like they are like, this is wrong. So that's why I was like, they were morally great characters at first that we just didn't know until later on, and then they're like, no, this is wrong. This is where we draw the line. Think, because that shows they had morals. This is where we draw the
But
line.
from
Boom.
the standpoint of children,
Oh, from this.
they are they are a neutral party that chooses to be good. We as an adult clearly understand that they can be morally gray, but they
Yes, yes,
still
yes, yes.
chose in the end to be good guys.
I felt like as a kid, I recognized them as being morally gray, because as a kid, I watched them and I understood these were bad guys, bad, quote unquote bad guys, just mercenaries. And not all mercenaries are bad people. They're just mercenaries. They get paid to do something so they can just get
I
paid.
would argue that our team are not mercenaries.
They said that they were. Even Rourke said that like this doesn't like, what did he say to Joshua Sweet? He said, you need to put a band-aid on your bleeding heart. It doesn't suit a mercenary. Because they recognized that they were mercenaries. That was chosen. But I think what Rourke didn't realize is that Rourke kind of manipulated them to just
Mm.
be hard-hearted. And they're like, nah, no, 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 it didn't work. This is no, 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 no. This ain't right. Um, at least that's my, again, interpretation uh, of the characters that I love so much.
Kumo, I can't argue with you about that. That you think our generation had morally gray in kid shows
Yes.
and films. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that,
I
and
agree.
because like millennials into very early Gen Xers or very young Gen Xers, um, that's why we're getting more complex bullies
Yes.
in villains
More
because
complex villains for sure.
a lot of times we end up with a bully in like adventure fantasy shows and end up getting into a big bad that's even bigger
Mm-hmm.
and worse than our bully. But we
Mm-hmm.
see that what usually causes the bully to be a bully or like things like that. Like we're not just given a like a cookie cutter bully anymore.
I
We're
agree.
actually given a very complex character
I
as a
wanna.
bully.
I would say in terms of film, Abuela from
Yes.
Encanto.
Yes.
When you watch the film, you know Abuela is kind of abusive, or not necessarily abusive, neglectful towards Maribel, or Mirabel, my bad, and her son because of his gift. Like, she rejected him. That's what happened. And you paint her like, people were like, abuela, definitely the villain. And then you see her backstory of why she became
Not a villain. She is an antagonist.
antagonist. Yes. But people villainized
Because
her.
there is a
Like,
stark difference between a villain and an antagonist.
yes. But people
Because we can have a villain as our protagonist and the hero as our antagonist.
Yes, I see. Yes. So she was the antagonist. And people, but I will say people villainized her because people took a lot of heart to this movie. A lot of people connected with this film. But again, I understood why, like, when they did the backstory and how she is trying to overcome, like, her own
Trauma.
stuff. They really tried. Like, they were like, yes, she did bad things to her family. However, like, this is why she reacted the way she did, because she never talked to her family about her trauma that she had to endure because she had to stay strong.
Well, she also didn't really talk about it to anybody else.
No, she held that all on her own, which is hard
Thank
for
you,
someone.
Kumo.
Oh wait, Dr. Horrible. Oh my God, yes, great example, Dr. Horrible.
And I think that's a problem with, like, people not really taking, like, critical reading comprehension anymore, or like even like a basic theater class anymore, is because they just want to villainize everybody. It's
Yeah,
either a villain versus a hero, when in
yeah,
reality it's a protagonist versus
an
an antagonist.
antagonist. Mm-hmm.
Um, and yes, a lot of times our antagonist is a villain, and that is okay.
Yeah, I'm
But you need to understand what a villain is versus an
an
antagonist.
antagonist. No, I agree. I know, I can understand the difference, but I'm like I'm
Well,
saying,
you also took some theater.
yeah.
You're a very intelligent person, and you seek out understanding
Mm-hmm. But I
within stories.
right, but like you've seen TikTok when Encanto blew up. Oh no, yes, you maybe.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
I
No, I
forgot
didn't.
soon. Okay, so in TikTok, everyone villainized Abuela, and I'm like, no, she's not the villain. Like, they showed her, like, they were like, oh, again, it's their own. A lot of people connected with the film, and they kind of lashed out at this particular character, but she's not a villain. She is very much the antagonist, but not necessarily a villain.
I mean, it
You
does
know who
make
is a
what
villain?
she did okay.
I was about to say, you know who is a villain? Fucking Hans from Frozen. Why don't y'all
He
get
is
on
a villain.
him? Yeah, he's a villain.
Yeah,
Fuck
because
on,
he's a white man.
fuck him
He's a
up.
white man.
He's an
That's
asshole.
right. He's a white man. That's why.
I was gonna say, he's just an asshole. I fucking hate that guy. Like,
People
they
literally
wrote him
shit on
so well.
him
Yeah,
because he's a white man.
yeah, this is fucking did it so well. Hans, fuck Hans. Anyway,
And also, we're not saying that what Abuela did was okay.
no, God no, because like I said, she did like she messed up her family by putting so much added pressure and not listening to them and neglecting some of her family members. Like,
Hmm.
she made mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, she did make mistakes, but in the end, she's trying to do better and be better. And again, it was a very short end, right? We don't get
Yeah.
to see the aftermath of her finally, because she realized at the end. That's it. She had the
And
realization to do better.
admitted it.
Yes, she admitted
Like,
her wrongdoings, and she, like, Bruno, realized how much she missed him with that hug, with like that kiss on the cheek, and like, let's go home. Like, she was so happy to see him. She knew what she did was wrong. But again, it's Disney. Let's see. I think more a Disney issue. Disney did black and white, good versus evil villains so much, and Kanto got stuck in that mindset. No, I agree. Especially when you see classic Disney films, it was always very distinct good versus bad villains.
because it's fairy tale.
It's a
A
yeah,
lot
it's
of
a
those were
fairy
fairy tales.
exactly. So it was easier to see. So
And
I
a
can
very
understand that.
cookie cutter fairy tale at that. Like
Mm-hmm.
Disney twists and everything, but still a very cookie cutter kind of thing where it didn't have any gray.
Mm-hmm. Oh shoot, I meant to talk about one more film that isn't Disney before we leave that had
Hmm.
adult themes that went over our head as a kid, and that was El Dorado.
Okay. And
Because
I can agree with that because it was DreamWorks and DreamWorks and also did Shrek, but DreamWorks did more adult oriented family films while
mm-hmm.
Disney did children oriented family films.
Yes, thank you. Because there were again adult themes. There was that scene where
Oh, I know
it's
exactly what you're talking about.
implied of a
Who
sexual
is it?
act.
Tulio?
Yeah, Tulio and
Chell.
thank you, Chell. There was an implied act I did not get until I was an adult and
That
people
went
pointed it.
over my head.
Me too, because I thought
Like I remember seeing that and I'm just like,
mm-hmm,
what is going on? Like what?
same, and they're like, lucky God, dang, I didn't realize. I just mm, mm, El Dorado. I just had to point that out there because that was a movie that was very much adult, and I realized as a kid how adult it was because it started with a massage, and then it ended with something else.
with with a happy ending.
A
Yeah,
happy
it was
ending.
just a standard massage.
Standard.
Um, and I feel like that animation can pull it off better
Yes.
than CG and live action.
I feel like animation is always going to be a medium that will never be dated. Like, I mean, of course it will be
He,
dated. I lied because we did see like the Page Master that was hella dated, but
oh god, it was still so good.
it was so good. But I do agree that I think animation would just stand the test of time better than CG will, like ever will. Um, because I feel like CG is constantly improving, constantly over and not to say that animation is it because it is, but I don't think it would hold like CG. Just like you pointed out before, Abby, it will always look dated, and I
Yeah,
agree.
it will. I for most,
Mm-hmm. For most.
I will say that there are some CG stuff that had put so much heart into it that it will last a lot longer than others.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that Treasure Planet is it is
Oh.
the one because they took such care
Mm-hmm.
to incorporate the 2D animation with the 3D animation that
Yes.
it will survive a lot longer. There was some CG animation in Atlantis, and you can kind of see it starting to age, and it's usually with
Yes.
the flying fish.
Oh, I
But
would.
because
You
it
mean like
was
the scorpion
so
thing, the lobster?
the yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so like those moments, but because it was so late in the movie
Mm-hmm.
and so few of it, and it was more background,
Mm-hmm.
I it will stay okay, but it will start to show its age eventually, a lot sooner than I would say Treasure Planet.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay. I can see that.
but even like what is it? We watched Anastasia, and we talked about watching Anastasia
Oh yes. Yes.
as adults, and you can already start to see
Yeah.
how that aged a lot harsher than Treasure Planet.
No, I agree. I thought about the
I
train
w-
scene when the train goes
yeah,
down. Very dated. You're absolutely right.
and I would also argue we haven't talked about like we re-talk about the same stuff over and over again. We haven't talked about Titan AE, and I would
Oh yeah.
say even when Titan AE first came out, it was already starting to age.
Yeah. I rewatched Titan
And I
AE.
love that movie.
No,
I love that movie
it's
so much.
it's a good film, but I watched it the first time in college, and then I watched it again like a few years back, and I noticed the very end when they're standing on Earth or Bob
Yes.
or whatever that the the graphics was so laughable.
Yeah.
because you're absolutely right. It is hella dated. Um, Go watch Into the Spider-Verse and tell me animation isn't improving. No, that is absolute proof that
It's
animation has, because I feel like you can just constantly improve with animation with new styles and new forms of how to animate. And
you can hide the CG because
yes,
a great example of this is Demon Slayer.
yes,
I would argue Mugen Train, the movie, kind of fucked all that up. And I'll get to that in a second. The breathing technique, like the water
mm,
technique,
mm-hmm.
they and the fire technique, because we do get to the fire technique a little later. Um,
I've seen
it
them.
it hides its animation and like because it's the flame in the water, like that is CG.
Mm-hmm.
And they hide it so well in that
Mm-hmm.
that it I think we've gotten to that point in technology where in animation technology anyway, that we've slowed down the aging of the CG
That makes sense. Yeah,
and that it will preserve itself longer,
yeah.
but it will start to show its age. Now, Mugen Train, um, spoilers, I'm sorry. A one of the demons ends up possessing the train, the Mugen train, the train to Mugen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is bad. It is
Oh
so bad.
no.
It is like it was. I'm like, I kept telling you how like the show is like, oh, Ricey, you gotta see it. It looks so fucking good. It's amazing. It's breathtaking. It's like holy fuck. And we get to that, and we get to like demon, like amorphic demon blob
Yeah.
moments that are CG'd, and it's just like, mm, mm,
But
mm.
I was supposed to say, I do want to point out Kumo's other comment. Anime
Yeah,
does a better job of anti-heroes and morally gray and sets our mindsets easier. I agree, but again, anime isn't originally our form of media. It
yeah.
was Japan's form of media.
Hmm.
And I feel like in Japan, because again,
The storytelling is different.
it very
The
much, very, very
stories
much.
themselves are different.
Mm-hmm.
The heroes and the anti-heroes and the villains are all completely different with completely different motives
Yes.
than
And
what we in Western culture are used to.
that's exact. And I think that's why it's so enticing for the Western culture to watch anime
Mhm.
because of that. Because
It's different.
yeah, as a kid growing up, I was exposed to anime, as a teen. I guess no, not middle school. It was middle school, and you see, I completely separated that from Western media kind of culture,
Right.
and I didn't know that at the time cartoons like that could be as violent or mature or something because
Hmm.
cartoons I was told was specifically for kids. Just
Agreed.
cartoons was for kids. I see
Ah.
anime with the action and stuff that I wasn't supposed to see at such an early age, mind you,
Mhm.
um, was not very much
Unfiltered
for
access
kids.
to the internet.
Yes, I had access to the internet. I was like, oh, it's not just for kids. At least
Hmm.
anime isn't just for kids. And I think because of that, it does do a better job of the anti heroes and the morally gray characters and stuff like that because anime, I guess, wasn't just geared for children. It wasn't.
Right.
Whereas the Western media, we still have this, even to this day, we
Hmm.
still have this, I guess, stigma of
That,
animation is just
yeah.
meant for kids unless spoken, like, unless there was a TV rating that says this is for adults, like Family Guy or Simpsons. But even those don't push the envelope of what adult animation could be. South Park does.
Well, they push the envelope in a bad way.
Yes. Because they do it more towards comedy. Like, again, I'm bringing out South Park because it is very much adult animation. But
Right.
I feel like for a lot of adult animated shows, it's just comedy. They don't have shows that are very complex with a good story that's not just comedy, which, at least for Western media. But you can prove me wrong because I can't think of any like Western or adult animated shows. Oh, you know what? That one movie, Nine, I think it was, with the little
Oh,
rag
with like
doll.
the little, yeah.
Yeah, that was a
I I've seen it once and I don't really remember much else about it.
yeah,
Um,
because that was definitely not for kids. Um, and I
I
remember watching
watched
it.
it as a kid. I don't
Really?
remember when it came out. Yeah, I watched it because it wasn't like a little kid kind of thing, but I
Mm.
wasn't like a
I watched it
I
as an
don't
adult in college because I never saw it as a kid, but I did see it as an adult in college. This is the age of the internet. Borders are meaningless. Join the global entertainment mindset. No, I agree. I think because now we do have access to the internet, a lot of minds are expanding, and anime is now mainstream, which is I feel like fantastic because I
Well, apparently there were two movies titled Nine. Both of them came out in 2009, and one is animation and one is live action.
no way. No, I'm talking about
Yeah.
animation. That's insane.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, and I was looking for it, and I ended up clicking on the wrong one, and I'm like, "Hey,
Oh, I
wait."
see. I looked it up. You're absolutely right.
But 2009 is when it came out, so yeah, like I guess I was an adult, and I'd have to go back and watch it because I really don't remember enough about it to actually kind of give an opinion.
Mhm.
But I will tell you this because I've been trying to get you to play with me. Sky, Children of the Light.
Mhm.
There's a level or area in Sky that kind of gives off very much Nine vibes, from what I
Ah,
can
okay.
remember of Nine.
Okay. I'll
Um,
definitely like I know we
let me
talked about
look.
playing it.
You have to rent it. It looks like it's $3.99 across the board. YouTube, Google Play, Vudu, and Amazon Prime. It's gonna be
Mhm.
$3.99 to watch it legally.
9?
9. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah, no. I've already seen it. I remember the mess. It like it's a good sci-fi adventure film. Kind of depressing, not going to lie. But
Yep.
yeah, sorry. In terms of again, in terms of adult animation, that is what I would say. We I don't think we've made it there in Western animation just yet, which is sad, but maybe
So it
eventually.
sounds like the very late 2000 plots, like 2000 like 00
Mhm.
numbers, because Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie, which is like the setup movie for the show,
Mhm.
um, was in 2008.
Mm.
And all of that was very much geared towards like teens and young adults and adults. Um,
Mhm.
'Cause it was a what was it? Adult Swim show on Cartoon Network, and it is very much a war show.
Mm. Oh shit, we are sorry. It is time
Going
for
on.
us to leave. Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Ab Miki Ree. You can find me on Twitter and here on Sundays. I don't stream. I still don't have a computer. I'm still having this like Discord with Ricey on my phone.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe one day we'll figure it out.
Well, I'll
I'll be
figure it
able to
out.
afford it.
Yeah.
I'll only be able to afford a graphics card and a motherboard and all that stuff.
It'll
At
happen.
Mikiri, you can it's spelled the exact same way as how I just chatted. I was saying hi. Um, and you can chat me up there and talk to me and at me and like tag me and stuff. Please no cursed images.
Oh
Everybody
God,
needs to.
please. Um, and I guess do I go?
Yeah, who the fuck are you, ma'am?
My name is A Bowl of Ricey. You can find me on
What's your
Twitter
screen?
and Twitch. I stream on Twitch every week, so you can find me there at A Bowl of Ricey with that spelling, as well as on Twitter at A Bowl of Ricey with that spelling. And you can find us. I'll do it. I can do it.
Can you do it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes, I've already done it. You can find us on Twitter at What's Your Opin 10 on Twitter.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
No,
So you can
that
find us there at What's Your Opin 10 on
that
Twitter. Then
that's
sometimes,
not spelled right. That's not spelled right. That's what you're a Pinton, not
Cha.
what. You said you could do it, ma'am. You're letting me down here.
I missed one letter. What's Your Opin 10 on Twitter? And you can check us there. If we normally try and post like voting stuff, or if you have any opinions or any topics you'd like to talk to us about,
Stop lying
tweet
to
us there.
people. We are not that organized.
No, we're never organized. We have ADHD. What are you talking about? Um, I will also like to point out that we will not be. Oh yes, we will. We will be talking about a
I will
specific
try.
topic on Sunday, the 28th. And
Next
again,
Sunday.
huh?
That would be next Sunday.
Next Sunday, yes. We're going to be talking about Splatoon. So don't ask us about
Splatoon 3.
topics
The
yet, because both of us, we are going to be playing the new Splatoon demo that's coming out on the 28th for, you told me only 12 hours. So I'm going to be like
Yeah.
playing that shit.
Oh yeah. No, I've already warned my husband. I'm just like, we will be sitting down. I will be sitting down Saturday with a full setup. And I will be playing that entire time.
Yes. Because we got to we have to give our review of just the demo,
Yeah.
and I would
It's the
love to
world
talk about that.
premiere of Splatoon 3 Splatfest.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Have you? Okay, so they announced, I don't know if you saw it, but they announced that you can go ahead and download the demo
Mm.
from the Nintendo eShop.
Oh,
And I already did that.
oh, but
But
we
you
can't
can't
play it yet,
play
right?
anything. No,
Yeah.
because it says that you can, it's only like, um, it will only activate per your Switch's clock.
Is that so?
But the servers aren't going to be live for you to be able to do anything. And it's a
Oh.
one-time only code to
Oh,
activate that. So if you fuck it up, you're not getting another one. They clearly
yeah.
state that in the email. It's like, here's your code. If it gets stolen or you lose it, we're not replacing it.
Shit. Okay, we'll have to be
So don't
patient.
fuck it up.
I'll be patient. It's just 1 week. What could possibly go wrong in that 1 week? But yes, I will definitely check it out. Because I feel like everyone's going to be playing online anyway on Saturday. Why would you want to do earlier? Because who are you going to be playing with? Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can get in and like look at shit, but like,
It's not fun. You got to play with
it's not.
people. But
It's
anyway,
kind of sad.
it is. It
Like
is.
I am so excited for you and for Kumo and like Lost or Lawson, like all of y'all to have y'all's first Splatfest. I'm so excited for y'all. Y'all are gonna love it. It's very exciting to see what they're doing with the three-way turf war battles. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I know that it's gonna be impossible for us to play together because everybody's gonna be on.
Yeah. Post your code on Twitter to show off you got it. No, we're not doing that. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening. And we will see you next week with the one topic that we're both excited to talk about because we waited so long. Especially Abby.
Man,
Abby's
we
fair.
were both excited for most of our topics.
Yes, I know, but this is definitely for you.
I'm okay. I will accept that. Like
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm not only excited for myself because it's been 5 years. I'm excited for all the new people that have joined in
Yes.
since like 2020.
But
Like
please
I'm
take
very
care.
excited for all of y'all.
I was like, but please take care of yourself because if you don't, you won't be able to play. So take care and stay safe for Splatoon.
Yeah,
Do it for Splatoon.
for the Splatoon.
For the Splatoon.
Think
And
of the inklings and the octolings.
exactly. And we'll see you guys next week.
I will, Kumo.
Yeah.
Watch it. Promise.
Oh, and Kuma says you got to watch the censorship.
I will watch it. I promise.
Okay. Good night, Good night. Goodbye, everybody. See y'all next week. Bye.
Again, you do this.
Listen, okay. It's a habit. Okay. Bye.
Bye.